Hey guys, I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving, all fat, happy, overflowing with gratitude. I'd like to chat a bit about boredom this week. You know, boredom is not a fruit of the Spirit, contrary to what most Christians believe. And actually, if you're bored with God, bored with Christianity, bored with the gospel, I'd like to inform you that you've either never heard the gospel or you quickly forgot what it was all about. You have a living, breathing, interactive relationship with the author of the cosmos, bound inextricably together with the greatest poet, the chief comedian, the supreme botanist, the inventor of DNA itself, the chorus master, the party master, the knower of everything. Forget breaking the internet. Google doesn't hold a candle to the Rolodex this guy has on file. If you're bored with God, you haven't met him. When we talk about you having the fullness of God already, thanks to Jesus, that doesn't mean that you're like at the height of your spirituality and you just need to plateau there as if there's nothing else for you to discover. Yeah, you are at the height of your spirituality, whether you know it or not. But if you're bored, it's because you're only just sniffing the cork of the fullness of that eternal well of glory that's already inside of you, and you don't even know it. If you're feeling stale and crunchy, like you're just sick of Christianity itself, well, hey, that's a good opportunity to have your mind renewed. Sometimes without realizing it, in our little theological discoveries, we end up running up these box canyons like an Indian scout. Sometimes you come back wide-eyed to the camp saying, don't go that way, boys. You need to sometimes reevaluate where your recent theological studies have taken you off course. Evaluate your joy levels. Have you been reading some liberal eggheads who discourage you even from expecting a supernatural lifestyle? Have you been reading deconstructionist critics who have you all bitter, cynical, and just depressed in the name of an intellectual enlightenment? Or maybe some universal guru, new age, super soul Sunday baloney that's limp-wristed, powerless, and incapable of satisfying you with substance beyond the limitations of humanistic self-worship. Sometimes we have to get back to square one, bring it back to Jesus from wherever we went off course. If you're bored with Jesus, then you definitely haven't met Jesus. Maybe you're just burned out on legalism and the religious repetitious contraptions of years of striving and self-effort. And it's normal to feel disgruntled if you've been wasting ages on redundant treadmills of religion. And it's normal to feel disgruntled when you first start to get free from that stuff. But dude, eventually you just gotta get over it and move on with life and God. Don't just look to what He set you apart from and be angry at that. Look at what He has set you apart to. Let your eyes be awakened to the vivid technicolor reality and star-eyed wonder of exploration and adventure. God speaks to you. Did you forget about that? I mean, in your disenchantment with prophetic nonsense, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Take some time to listen. He's a real boy, has exciting stuff to show you. He's alive. He speaks, and He has a destiny for you. Did you forget about that? In your disenchantment with the word of faith wranglings and trying to grab hold of your own future, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Have some expectancy for your life. There are tangible moments of breakthrough that come when we wake up from the slumber of unbelief and realize that we can reign in this life. Look, you had some squabbles in church. You don't have to keep sucking your thumb in the corner. I will bet Vegas odds that I've been excommunicated from more churches than anybody listening to this. But I haven't given up on fellowship. Where else are you going to go? Relationships hurt sometimes. If that wasn't a possibility, then they wouldn't be real. Love always has the possibility of hurting you. So what I'm saying here, hey, avoid isolation. You burn out, you're dry, you're depressed, you're bored of religious shenanigans. You need a drink. Get around to other gospel believers. Heck, come to one of our events. You will get hammered. You got a party in your belly, but most of the time we're sitting around our house twiddling our thumbs and that's not going to help. There's something on impartation, getting around others, going and connecting with community and believers in intentional worship. We can't just give up on the church altogether. I mean, all you keyboard warriors on Facebook can throw your opinions around until you're blue in the face, but it counts for nothing if we can't get in a car and go love on real people in real life and be loved in real life. And believe me, the real growth and the real challenge is when we are faced with having to love other Christians. We stir one another up. I don't mean just having a beer and barbecue with the boys. That's great. That's community. That's fellowship. But there is something on corporate intentionality in worship. From the dawn of time, God has ordained a tangible whack and blessing on the worshiping community. Now, unfortunately, all these dualisms have separated out our corporate worship from just our corporate fun festivity time and just living life together. But look, impartation isn't getting something that you don't already have. You already have the fullness of God within you. Impartation is rubbing shoulders with one another in the body and stirring up what's already in there. And for crying out loud, I mean, don't forsake basic Christian disciplines. Boredom creeps in when we neglect to pray or meditate, or when we neglect to spend time with the scriptures. You say, well, I don't have time for that stuff, but you do have 2 hours to spend on social media or Netflix every night. You see these things, prayer, scripture, etc., as something boring. The fact is, those things don't bore you. We were bored already, stuck in the limited, fragmented, small perceptions of God that we were already bringing to the table in our finite minds. But when we spend time with Him in meditation and study, that's what actually blows the grid off the dry, stale limitations that we had already projected onto Him. Look, some of us just need to get back to the intoxication of drinking in the reality of who He is, the tangible, transcendent realness of God. His presence is present right here, right now, as you're listening to YouTube. He is right here, ready to blow the lid off your mental framework and set your heart on fire again with an intensity like you have never known. So be revived this week. Be awakened. I speak this as a benediction over you, as an impartation, as a blessing to you. Just take it in and burn, baby, burn. Finally, just remember to keep thinking outside of yourself. Get lost in the wonder of loving others and helping others and serving others. Sometimes we're just stuck because we're unwittingly being selfish creatures. It's not that we intended to go that direction, but we just end up in this quagmire. But the true you is a generous, other-giving reflection of the infinite love of the Trinity. So, release it, boys and girls. Love you guys, bless you guys, and we will catch you next week. Now through December 15th, you can get 20% off everything in our online store. Books, audio teachings, even our MP3 JoyPod player. Visit johncrowder.net and enter the discount code XMAS on checkout.
Zippity-doo-dah, zippity-yay. My, oh my, what a wonderful day. Plenty of sunshine heading my way.
You can pre-order John Crowder's upcoming new book, Money, Sex, Beer, God, a biblical companion to the happy life. All pre-orders will be signed and ship early 2016. Visit johncrowder.net to order. And in January, John will be in South Africa. He's coming to 3 cities, Johannesburg, Durban and Cape Town. Find out more at thenewmystics.com/Africa. We also have several mystical schools coming up on the calendar. John will be in Bergen, Norway in January. He'll be in New York City in February. And he'll also be in Oklahoma City in February. Find all our mystical schools at thenewmystics.com/schools.
Next spring, we're rolling strong through the West Coast. March is our Northern California Mystical School in the Chico, Redding area with special ministry school student discounts. Also in April, I'm back in Southern California with Tim Wright for our West Coast Gospel Mania Tour. It's also coming to Phoenix, Arizona, Portland, Oregon, and the Colorado Springs area. And in April, I am in Seattle for a mystical school. And for our West Coast Canadian friends, I'm back in Vancouver, BC in May. These will all blow up, so lock in a seat early and tell your friends.